How did the Industrial Revolution move people? Everyone knows what the Industrial Revolution is. You know, the movement that led to the creation of the steam engine, locomotives such as steam trains and ships, and even the beginning of the era working in factories and so on. And what do you think they all had in common? New inventions, vast amount of wealth? I mean, they're all correct, but that's not the point here today. The point here is to learn about how the Industrial Revolution moved people. And when I say this phrase, moved people, I mean it so that it can be interpreted in many ways. The way I interpret this is that the Industrial Revolution moved people beneficially. I insist that the Industrial Revolution moved people toward getting better opportunities in life as people gathered into urban areas to seek manufacturing jobs, which gave rise to class mobility from the poor class into the middle class. Inventions such as the clock, the windmill, and the printing press allowed the interconnection of the city inhabitants to continue swiftly. And those inventions and technologies were soon mass-produced in factories. When there are factories built in a region, there will be high demands for factory labor jobs. Other businesses like building manufacturers, retailers, and service providers would then meet the product demands of the workers. This would then create even more jobs and demands for housing, which would then expand the urban area. This is how usually urbanization starts out. Factories were necessary because the machineries were too expensive, too large, and needed large amounts of power, as well as being operated by many workers. In 1777, Samuel Johnson shared this aspect of cities in his famous aphorism. When a man is tired of London, he is tired of life, for there is in London all that a life can afford. Transportation made major contributions to accelerating the urbanization. Inventions like the railroads and the steam-powered locomotives, they opened up a brand new world. Now trains can travel wherever the tracks are built. Transportation was no longer limited just to rivers and canals. During the 19th century, the Industrial Revolution created countless jobs for workers, contributed to the wealthiness of the nation, and increased the production of the goods, which led to higher standards of living, healthier diets, better housings, cheaper mass-produced products, higher wages, shorter working hours, and better working conditions after the labor union was formed. Those workers formed the labor unions and gained better working conditions, and as a result, they began to see the benefits of the Industrial Revolution as well. There were changes to education for the working and common class during the Revolution. Before the 1800s, children couldn't afford education since schools were not yet free in Britain. After the law changed, the poor children were allowed to go to schools, and many acts and unions participated to promote the schools. This change is seen throughout the country since there were more educated children and adults working in better jobs which would create better lives for the next generation. There will be people that won't agree with what I'm saying. I mean, they could argue how the revolution has rather lowered the workers' quality with unsanitary conditions and unsafe working conditions, which drove humans away from the humanity. Not only that, the Industrial Revolution exacerbated the stratification of social classes, which widened the gap between the poor and the rich. Although the rural laborers might have gotten jobs in urban cities, this doesn't mean that the sanitary nor working conditions are not as worth as the payment they are receiving. In Friedrich Engels' book, The Condition of the Working Class in England in 1844, they tell us how harsh the laborers' living conditions were. He explains that workers need to pass into and out of the court only by passing through the foul pools of stagnant urine and excrement to get to work, or living in homes that are missing too many factors to even call it a place to live. There are no doors, no beds, no windows, no kitchen, or even sometimes walls. He revealed that the laborers' sleeping quarters are separated from the cities that are reserved for the middle classes, a sign that shows polarization between different classes. At least before the Industrial Revolution, they pursued social union as the family-centered unity. However, while the Industrial Revolution has affected the society and the nation, the social union system disintegrated and the society became radically polarized, which cannot be recovered into the original state of the society then. However, human history proves the fact that it is not easy for human society to eradicate the deep-rooted social stratification. In other words, the problem of the social classes doesn't only belong to the matter in the Industrial Revolution. Although countless problems existed during the revolution, it is sure that the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Some powerful progresses in the era have brought about the result for people to move forward to a better society in the long run. Therefore, I can clearly state my claim again. Definitely, I insist that the Industrial Revolution moved people toward getting better opportunities in real life as people gathered into urban areas to seek manufacturing jobs, which gave rise to class mobility from the poor class into the middle class. These are my citations. Thank you.